reaching the end of the season, but still we have a few people to talk to. And the gentleman with me this afternoon, I've got to admit, I'd much rather see them on the pitch this afternoon than in here. But let's welcome Nick Wood to my left and Rory Lawson to my right. Well, let's start with an injury update. Nick, doesn't look as though you'll play again this season. We were just moving apart because I think... So Nick, doesn't look as though this season.
No, I'm not really fit till mid to end of July, I think. I had surgery on my chest a month ago. It went really well. 2 more weeks in the sling, thankfully, and then after that, just into rehab. And the good news is it was a pretty simple operation. I should be back fighting fit, just as good as I was before.
Can you just remind us what the injury was?
A scrum collapse against Leicester and poor conditions, and my foot got pinned. My arm got pinned, and I tore my chest tendon off the bone. But it was a pretty simple repair, to be honest.
Well, good luck, and may the recovery go through in time for pre-season. My life is so difficult. Also injured, but looking incredibly fit, Rory Lawson. Rory, you came off against the Quins. Exactly what was the injury and how's progress?
I did pretty much exactly the same as Woody, but to my groin. So managed to tear a couple of muscles off the bone in my groin. So I had it off 5 or 6 weeks ago. 5 weeks ago, and again, it's coming on well. I'm off the crutches, and I'm back to doing some rehab stuff. And yeah, all things going well, I'd be fit to return to play sometime towards the end of May. But I was kind of hanging my hopes on making it to a Premiership final and maybe coming back for that. But it doesn't look like that's going to be on.
Amazing how the ladies' attention grew when you mentioned your groin.
I'm sure there's a one-liner in there about growing, but yeah, I think it's for the men out there, it's pretty nasty, and there's absolutely no denying that. But it's all back where it should be, so that's nice.
Sure, in the interviews there, I can't think of anything else.
Thank you.
Rory, that was a good light note, but this injury obviously sees you out to the end of the season. From reports, have we seen you for the last time in a Gloucester shirt?
The honest answer is I don't know. Just now there's no. I haven't signed a contract anywhere for next season, so I'm as intrigued as everyone else is as to what's happening, and it's just a case. Contract time is a tough time for all players. Whether you've got an offer to stay somewhere, whether you're looking to move on to pastures new, it's a tough time. But at the same time, it's one whereby you kind of hope that something will come around, everything will be sorted out sooner rather than later.
Well, good luck in both the injury and the contract talks. Nick, let's talk about rugby. We've been trying to make it very difficult for ourselves for this Heineken Cup qualification. It looks now as though it should be a fight between us and Sale, but now we've really got to get back surely to 2 wins this week and next week.
We've got to turn Kingsholm into the fortress it once was. It used to be a long period that we spent pretty much unbeatable here. Even in tight games, things would go our way, but we've now got to the situation where it seems that this season, tight games, home or away, seem to always go against us, and I mean, a lot of that's down to being smart on the pitch and how you close out the game. It's all very well having a tight lead, but there are plenty of teams, successful teams over the years, who've built trophies and built dynasties on being able to defend those tight leads, whereas we've just caved in a bit softly, probably through our own indiscipline. I think that's really the key, is discipline. If we can stop giving away stupid penalties when we've got the lead, especially when we've fought so hard to get the lead, like the comeback against Exeter, the comeback against Wasps, then I think we'll start doing ourselves a lot more favours and close out those games.
You mentioned the comeback against both Exeter and Wasps. From the seat in the stand, it looked, and I mean this not in a joking way, it looked almost as though the team wasn't ready at the kick-off. Particularly in the Exeter match, we didn't seem ready for the whole of the first half. And in my mind, I think we were lucky to go in with the deficit that we had. It could have been far greater. And then all of a sudden we get this champagne rugby, which produced fantastic tries. And then, as you quite rightly say, we give penalties away. So it really is an 80-minute thing that you must have been looking at in the last 3 or 4 weeks. The lads who at least who were training and playing must look at the whole 80 minutes.
Yeah, the Exeter game, we were the second best team on our home patch for 60 minutes, and there was 6 minutes of glory where we produced 3 absolutely fantastic tries. Now, at 27-18 up, we probably didn't deserve to be in the lead, but that's no reason why we shouldn't be smart around it and defend that lead and play sensibly. Maybe go back to playing a bit of territory. Certainly stop giving away stupid penalties and actually just concentrate on defending and defending hard. And, I think that's what it comes down to. Actually, if you average it out over 80 minutes, we weren't the better team. But at the same time, after 67 minutes, when we scored those 3 tries, we just used a bit of nous and reined it in a bit and stopped giving away penalties. Then we, despite being overall the second best team, we still would have come away with a win.
And Rory, we then went to Wasps, and apart from playing on a different ground, it almost looked the same match as against Exeter. We started off as though we were asleep, got behind, fantastic comebacks, some tremendous tries, get in front, and then 3 or 4 penalties, and eventually they had to kick one. I think that was always on the board, wasn't it? They are going to kick one.
Yeah, I think down at Wasps it was the disappointing thing is that our tries actually came off. We looked at our most dangerous off counter-attack, and I certainly feel that we've got to get better at our core game, we've got to get better at our phase game, we've got to get the pace into the game that we play when we're at our best, and as a result it causes defences an awful lot of problems when we do that. Against Wasps I felt that we kind of went through the motions a little bit, I think possibly down to a lack of confidence and the fact that our confidence had been knocked a bit the week before. But in playing in the Premiership against any opposition, you can't just go through the motions and expect to break teams down. You've got to have a cutting edge, and to be in the game against Wasps, we had to score a couple of exceptional counter-attack or turnover scores in order to give us those opportunities. Wasps did put pressure on us a little bit again. I feel that the 3 ways in which we put ourselves under pressure recently have been our exits, so being clean when we're 25 odd metres from our own half, finding ourselves a set piece around about the halfway line or beyond, our discipline, as Woody's already touched on, giving away too many penalties that then concedes you yardage, and off the back of that, I think sometimes our decision making around about the counter attack and where we play our rugby needs to just be a little bit sharper. With our back 3, we're always going to threaten. We're always going to threaten with counter-attack, but then teams are aware of that, so we're going to focus on the defence now. And I think if we can be clean in our own half, it gives us an opportunity to have that cutting edge when we really get the opportunity to attack.
Newcastle today are going to be desperate. They're in the last chance saloon. You know they're going to come at you hard and fast. Presumably that will have been the focus in the last 2 weeks since the Wasps match?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that the focus has got to be on ourselves, and there are occasions whereby you look at the opposition and you worry so much about the opposition and the threats they're going to pose, but our defence has been something that until a few weeks ago has been the foundation upon which we've set our game. Defensive lapses in the last couple of weeks have caused us problems, but I feel that we can fix that ourselves. We can fix our attack ourselves. Our focus has got to be on doing our bit right, putting our game out there and forcing Newcastle to have to defend it, and have to defend it well to stop it.
Well, we're all waiting with bated breath, and as Nick said, or one of you said, that this used to be a fortress, but we've now lost 3 out of 9 Premiership matches here, Nick. That's got to end, hasn't it?
We went through a period 3 years ago. I think we lost against Wasps, against Northampton at home as well, and from that point we had to start a whole new era of being unbeaten, and we went 18 months, and there's always going to come a low patch where you're going to struggle a bit. We need, at some point, we've got to draw a line in the sand and start it all over again. And I really hope that it's today. It's not going to be an easy game. They're fighting their lives. They've got no interest in going down into the Championship, and why should they? So, we have to respect that fact, and we have to earn the right to win this game. And it's almost a couple ago. I think a little bit against Wasps, we were caught napping right at the start. Against Exeter, we were caught napping. It's almost like you expect to win these games. I don't know if it's perhaps we beat Exeter away, we thought maybe it's okay, we're at home, we've got this in the bag. Wasps, they're 11th, we smashed them on Boxing Day. This should be easy. And for whatever reason, there's that spark lacking in defence, lacking in the intensity in our game that's required to win these matches.
Sometimes perhaps people like myself and the rest of the supporters here can be a bit too critical. Earlier in the week I was looking through the predictions made by the newspaper at the beginning of the season, and it probably averaged out that they expected Gloucester to finish 7th or 8th. So if you're slightly less critical, if we can secure this Heineken Cup place, should we see that as a reasonable return for the season, or will you people as squad members of the team be very disappointed with the way it's turned out?
I think after last year, I think at the start of last year we didn't really know where we'd finish. We ended up finishing 3rd, I think, was it? We got to lose narrowly in the semi-final to the eventual champions, and our expectations of each other as a squad was to be able to achieve at least that this year. And we're certainly the guys who played all the way through last year as well. We're disappointed to have not made it that far. But now, as you say, Graham, Heineken Cup qualification is the absolute minimum. Not only for our own personal ambitions, but as a club, we need to be showcased on the highest stage in Europe.
I appreciate you've got to be in the boxes in a minute. Rory, can I just ask you as a conclusion, Scotland in the Southern Hemisphere this summer, fit enough to go?
I think certainly my return to play date, my predicted return to play date would be around about the 26th of May, which would in theory be the date around which Scotland will leave for Australia, Samoa and Fiji. Obviously the reality is I wouldn't have played any rugby for 3 months before that. On one side of things it means I'll be fresh and ready to go. On the other front, obviously I'm a little bit short of rugby. Summer tours are tough because they come at the end of the season after 30 odd games for your clubs, so they're a lot of tired bodies. Ultimately the decision's outside my hands. I'll speak to Robert at some stage and see what his views are, but we'll wait and see. The main focus for me is to give anything I can towards Gloucester's push in the last 3 games and secure that Heineken Cup spot somewhere that Gloucester and the size of Gloucester's club has to be every single year.
Well, can I say, and I'm sure everyone here will agree, when I wish you well with the injury, wish you well with Scotland, and if, and I hope it's not true, you do leave, can I thank you for your fantastic input to this club for a number of years, and I'm sure you all agree with that. Thank you. Having said that, I hope you stay. Nick, I may have to speak to you next Saturday because you've got to be a leading contender in the Player of the Year. And everyone, don't forget to vote. If you haven't voted, today is the day to vote. My own personal highlight of you this season will be that high-speed burst in the mud at Bath. You must have enjoyed that.
Yeah, the forwards have been doing all our speed sessions this year on a bog, so Bath was the ideal surface for me to actually show a turn of pace. So, contrary to, unlike Johnny May, who's passed around the harder surfaces, I think the forwards have got a bit of snap about them in the mud.
And a try in the same game.
Just maintaining the average, one a year, nothing special.
Well, your rather attractive minder is here to take you away. Thank you, Amy. And once again, can I thank Nick, can I thank Rory, and let's give it to Newcastle this afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much.